Yes. So you are able to see me as well as listen what I am talking to you. So first unit is about all object-oriented programming. Okay. So before learning object-oriented programming, first we have to learn procedural-oriented. So the name is a procedure. So what we think about a procedure here, students? Hello, students. Am I audible, students?
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am.
Yes, yes. So if we see procedure, na each and everything now if, emphasize on the procedure. So procedure means what? Procedure means a function. Okay, procedure means a functions. So whenever we are learning procedure oriented language, we are learning on which thing it is important. It is emphasized on doing the things. Means it depends upon the algorithm. Means functionality of the program. So large program we have to divide into small functions. If you remember a function means what? If a similar kind of task we have to create, then what we have to do? We are creating the function and we can call that function multiple times whenever we need that. It means a simple way I can show you here in the sketchboard which will help you to understand this much better. Where is that? Students, is it visible or creating some
Yes,
problem to
ma'am.
you? Okay. Hope it is visible a Jambo, so I can show you how exactly a procedure functions. So we know this many code. Okay, some part of this code we require to call multiple times. Okay, this part of a code in my program, if I say this is my program one, okay, so this part of a code I need to be called multiple times. So if I need to call multiple times, is it worth to write that multiple times? Is it worth to write that multiple times? I require that 3 times in the code. So is it not worth to write that 3 times? We can create a function basis of this operation. Okay, we can call a function on the basis of this operation and we can call this function 2 or 3 times whenever we need. So I can call function at first here, function after number of lines and call function 2, then function 3 like this. Okay, if you see here what we observe, instead of writing the code multiple times creating the ambiguity, we are creating a function and we are calling that functions whenever we need in the program. So as well as function help us, the similar kind of code I can combine in the function. Similar kind means what? I know I need to perform the addition. Okay, simple basic thing is I need to perform the addition. So whatever the task I need, that I can write within this curly brace or within this part of the function. Okay, so addition can be, I can have the two numbers and perform the addition a plus b. So the task of this function is perform the addition and I can call this function, add function multiple times in the program whenever I need it. So what I feel, what is the advantage of it, students? The advantage is whenever I need, I can call the functions. Yes, the same functionality I can combine, group together into the function and I call. The same thing I can use here in procedure-oriented programming. Okay, so here if you see, emphasis is on doing many things. So here things are related with the algorithm. Larger programs are divided into smaller programs. So that smaller programs we can say the functions and we can call these functions. And if we see our data which is globally so I think you know this concept global data means the data which is shared by multiple functions together. Okay, so it is like this. If we see this, okay, so a common data which I have returned before this function start. Okay, This data is shared within all these functions. This data is shared by all these functions. Common. Okay, so how we define this? So this data is not local to the function. It is accessible outside the function as well as the inside the function. Okay, so we can observe that most of the functions shares the global data. So common data is shared within this. It is like this. Okay, so this is my share pool and here my variables are. So all these functions are sharing the data. Okay, all these functions are sharing the common data. It is like a is equals to 10. I can access the 10 value within these functions. Okay, if it is a global variable. So there are different variables. You can have the we can have the look when we are learning the data types and its different membership. So if you see data move openly, now here is not any concept that my data I'm not going to share with anyone. Okay, so that concept is not here. So data move openly around the system from function to function. And you have to remember one concept over here, top-down approach. Okay, so always remember from the main program, we have to call the functions. Okay, so that is the flow and the flow is a top-down. So I have to first write the main program, then I have to write the functions. So if you see the structure, you can observe here, my main program is listed. This is my main program and we have the different functions. So there can be possibility that after one function, I can call other function. Similar way we have from the main program, we are calling three functions. Function 2 calls other two functions. So we can have the nested functionality also in the procedural oriented programming. So if we see the other characteristic we learn, this is the procedure. So how which languages we call as a procedural oriented? So COBOL language, Fortran and C language. If you know the C language is more famous as compared with the other languages. In the previous, as you are learning this, so it is started from the C++. But in the previous years, it is whenever we are learning the data, we can see the data structures that is in a C language. It is not in a C++. Okay, so these are conventional programming language, and these are COBOL, Fortran, and C language. So if you remember the hierarchy of the language, students, as machine is only understanding 0 and 1 format. 0 and 1 means what? On and off only. But it is very difficult to remember machine codes. Okay, it is very difficult to understand machine codes. So if I wanted to write a 1, so I have to write the 0, 0, 0, 3 zeros and 1, which represent 1. Okay, so it is very difficult to remember. Now after that, assembly language come into picture. Assembly means mnemonics I use. Means what? For a 1, I can use O and E. For a plus, I can use add. Okay, for or 3 like THREE, which means that whenever I need, sorry, 1 is only a numerical value 1 plus and 2. So this represents the addition. So that is added with assembly language. Okay, after that, new language come into picture, that is a high level language. Okay, so procedural oriented programming is high level language. High level means what? Which is understandable, which is very easy to write by the programmer. Okay, so that is a high level languages, because like if you understand Python also, so we have written the print. Print means what? Print means I have to print something. Yes, so it is very easier for the user to use these kind of words. Okay, it is possible for them to write the logic. Like I can write print into bracket, I can write this is my first program. Yes, so this is possible with a procedural oriented language. So these are the characteristics. Now limitations. I told you the limitations when I'm talking about this. So data move freely around the program. Okay, it means that anyone is able to access my data. Any function is going to access my data. So if any function is going to access my data, it is impacting the values within the data. So what exactly it means? So my data is equals to 10. So consider the one example. I have shared a sheet. Okay, with all you, with all these students. So we have the now 58 students. Okay, I share the link for the and here you have to write your details. So it may be possible that any one of the students can delete other students data. Why? Because the data is available to all the students. Okay, anyone is going to modify the data. Yes, so we can see that now in history who have modified that. Okay, but if it is modified student, you can observe data is vulnerable. So it is very vulnerable, so we have to change that vulnerability. Okay, so it does not model every real world problem. So I cannot represent any real world entities. Like I told you, a student, and I'm giving the names but to the particular student, I'm going to call a particular student, so it is difficult. Okay, so new concepts come into picture, that is object oriented programming. Okay, so what happened actually in your Python language, you learn this OOP. So you feel that OOP is already been learned by you. So it seems the theory comes start from the previous language and then added a new language. Okay, so procedure is previous language, then OOP concepts are added into picture. Okay, so first, object oriented programming. I told you our object, if we see, OP treats the data. So here we treat the algorithms. Okay, we treat the emphasis on doing the things. Means, see students, whenever I'm talking now, you can write the important words in your notebooks. So I told you, so there can be possibility in your exam paper about to write the difference between procedural oriented programming and object oriented programming. Okay, so here it is emphasize on the algorithm, is emphasis on doing the things. So here it means that it treats the data. Here very important is the data. Okay, means my objects. So it ties together. Which things it ties? It ties the data as well as the operations. Means data and the procedure, data and the function we combine together. Okay, so it allows us to decomposition of our problems into multiple objects. Okay, so here one object can communicate with the other objects. That is possible in object oriented programming, students. That is possible in object oriented programming. So now if the question asks you about the difference between the object oriented programming and the procedure oriented programming is, so first, procedural oriented program is divided into small parts called as the functions. I already told you, you can write the important parts divided into functions. Okay, do not write if you are going to write all the lines, it will be difficult. Okay, so you can write only this: procedure oriented programming, object oriented programming. Divided into functions is divided into the objects. Importance is not given to the data. It is given to the functions as well as the algorithm, means sequence of the actions. But here if we see, students, object oriented programming always gives the importance to the real world data. Okay, so that is very important. So here you can write the data is very important. Here we have to, here the function and the sequence is important. Approach is top down approach follows here. Here it follows the bottom up approach. So we can see this top down means a main program. From the main program we call the functions. But in our object oriented programming, we have the class, and we have to create the class in the main program and then call the functions. We can see this when we are learning. Okay, so access specifier concept is not here in the procedure oriented programming, but here we have the access specifiers. So what exactly access specifier means, students? This access specifier gives us the control over the data. Means what? So public data is available to all the classes. Anyone is going to access that. Okay, private data is limited to that class only. So no other persons or other users are not able to access that. Okay, hope you understand this. Okay, It means that the others means what? The first class I have written integer a. So that if I make that as if I made that as a private, so no one else is going to access my data. There is one more concept, protected. Protected concept comes when I told you the one example last time also, a parent and the child relationship. Child can access the properties of the parent. Okay, it shares the attribute from the parent class. So that sharing, which attribute are going to be accessed outside the class, but within the derived class. So that is protected. We can see this. Okay, don't worry much to not understand it. Data moving. Data can freely move, but here it can be moved within the object only. Okay, and we can access through the member functions only. So that is very important to understand. So data is freely available. Here data is not freely available. It is limited to the objects. Expansions. If I need to add a new data and functions, it is difficult to add, but here it is very easy to add a new data and the function. Data access. So global data is shared by all the members. Here it is difficult. Data cannot be moved easily within a function to the functions. Okay, if I make it is public, then only we can access, otherwise it is not accessible. POP does not have any proper way for the data hiding, but here it provides the data hiding functionality. Data hiding means the class data is not available for the other members to access. Okay. So here the examples are C, Visual Basic, Fortran, Pascal. These languages are procedure oriented languages, if you see this. Okay, and the next languages are C++, Java, VB.NET, Python, C Sharp. So these languages are object-oriented languages. So now we are learning object and the class. Okay. Yes. Okay. So objects. So now we are starting with the object concept. Up to this, all thing is okay, students, or not? Students, up to this is okay or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So now we are beginning with the new topic. Okay. Objects. So OP uses the object as a fundamental building block. It's theory concept. Okay. As a theory concept, we can say it's a building block. Object consists of. I can show you one thing. Okay. If you see these students, object, if you see, object consists of the data and data and functions. Okay, so function is going to add, modify and delete the data. Hope you are understanding. So this function is able to add, modify and delete the data. So object is, we can say, basic runtime entities. Runtime entities means we can have the values when we call that object. Okay. So when we create a constructor, now if you find difficult, don't worry. Here it is, the concept is I have to create first class. Okay. Then I have to create the object within a main function. And using that object, I can access the functions. Okay. So if you see the class is student and the object is, I can say Ajay, okay, Aryan, these are the object because they are having their own attributes. Every object is associated with the data and the function which defines the meaningful operation on the object. So students, I have seen multiple times, student only whenever they are start writing the code, they are creating the functions ambiguity. Hello, huh? So every object is associated with data and the function, okay, which defines the meaningful operations on the object. So meaningful operation means that if my data is, I can, okay. So we have the attribute. I told you the student will require the attribute. How many attributes, students? You can tell me now. Okay, we can. I'm going to write one by one. So first attribute, students. You can. Yeah, this sheet is shared with you. Yes. So you can write the attribute immediately on the sheet. Any attribute you know which represents the student. Join this. Boo. Join this John board fast. Shohit, Ishita, yes, you can write the different attributes here. Student's attribute immediately, which represents a particular student. Hope you are understanding. So this is my student class. I need to add the attribute. Tell me different attributes here. You can write. Anurag, समजते का काय क्वेश्चन आहे? Students, you
It
are
is not
joining. No one is
editable.
writing. Is it editable, students? You are able to write or not?
No, ma'am.
You are not able to write. Have you tried, Aryan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. It's not writable. I have to check the setting after this. Uh, something is difficult one. Okay, let's see. I can write. You can tell me one by one. Aryan, any attribute of a student?
Roll number.
Roll number. Yes. Next.
Class.
Ajay. Class. Okay. Anyone else? Aryan. Rohit.
Division.
Division. Okay. Very good.
Marks.
Marks. Else?
ID number.
ID number. Okay. So roll number will help us the similar way. Okay. Next. First, our student doesn't have a name. We have to write
Name.
name also. No? Name is very important attribute. How we miss this name? Okay. Next. Age. Can we require age? Sometimes. Okay. Not next. Marks is very important. ID is important.
Phone number.
Roll number is phone number. Okay. Phone number is very important to call whenever we require. Phone number, email
Gender.
address. Very good. Gender. Anything is missing?
Branch.
Branch. Okay. Which branch you have attributed? Yes.
Address.
Branch.
College name.
Babre, how many attributes we have discovered now? College name. Anything is missing? So
Address.
I can have, huh?
Address.
Trend. Which one, Ajay?
Student address.
Address. Okay. So I think we have discovered different attributes. So now I am going to add some more attribute now, which is my own discovery. So if you understand, it's very nice. See, I can add here different attributes like DP level. BP level, sugar level,
EMI.
EMI. Very good, huh? Nice. EMI. EMI, no? You are talking EMI.
BMI, body mass index.
Body mass index. Yes. Okay. Any else? Anyone? Anything else?
Height, weight.
Shrohit is talking, or who is talking? Very nice examples. Height and weight. Okay. So what do you understand from this attribute, students? So difficult to write when it is small. Okay, yes. So what I have to tell you this. So these many attributes, okay, roll number, name, address, branch, gender, college. This attribute defines the particular student. Yes. And we have other attribute also. So what happened? Multiple times students not able to identify which attributes are very important. Okay. So they can, see, these attributes are not important as we consider the student who enroll in a particular college. But these are very important attributes when they are going for the medical checkup. It is not needed now, but it is necessary for the medical checkup. But always remember, student, those attributes are very important. That attribute we have to include in our class. Okay, and within the class we can have these many attributes, okay, which are more relevant to our class. The student, if we say student, the important features of the student is roll number, name, we can have the age, phone number, email address, and gender. And so these other attributes we can have different class. So we can have the division also. Okay, marks we can have the importance. So we can add those here. Okay, and those are not that much relevant. We are going to avoid those attributes for this. Okay, so whenever we create the medical checkup, into that class we can add these attributes. Students, 1 minute, one faculty is here. Okay, so if we see these attributes, these are all attributes are important, but those are more important that we need to add into the class. Okay, so name, roll number, age, phone number, email address, these are very important when we consider a particular student. Okay, so there is the relationship between the classes. Okay, so like student enroll for a particular course, student enroll for a particular branch. So that is the relationship between one class to the other class. Okay, so branch is having other attribute like branch coordinator name, branch head name, yes, and how many strength of the branch, yes. So this is, we can consider branch as a one class, college is a one other class, because college is having the attribute, its own attribute like college name, college address, college principal name, faculty, how many faculties college is having. So these things are defined the college. So we have the relation, the student admitted into the college. So the class is student, other class is a college, and there is a relationship between these two classes. Okay, so that we can see when we are learning the coding part. So what I have to tell you here, important attributes are very important. Okay, so we have to gather the important attributes. We have to list down how many attributes we have, from which we have to select the important attributes for our program. Okay, so if we see this, data and meaningful operations on that object. It is not that we can have all the things together in the object. Always remember, object is real world existing entity. So we can have the fan as an object. Whenever we see all the things, we can have, if you see the cupboard, okay, if I show you the cupboard, okay, whenever you see the cupboard also, Is cupboard can be object? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is cupboard
Yes, ma'am.
can be object?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So how many attributes cupboard can have then? Tell me. Cupboard
Size,
can have
Color.
Size,
color, yes.
size,
Size, color, yes. A company,
Compartment.
yes. Compartment, number of compartment, yes. Yes. Any other thing?
color,
So color, okay. So these attributes define the cupboard as an object. Now, so we can create the class cupboard. Within that, we have to write these many attributes. As well as we have to define the functions on this attribute. To tell me the functions we require for this cupboard. Very easy. For a cupboard, which operations we need? Open the
close,
cupboard. Open, close.
move,
Aryan?
Storing.
Storage, yes. So these many attributes, it means that which things we are inserted into the cupboard, which we access from the cupboard, yes. So you can write these as the functions within that. So object, we can have all the things we can write. So if we consider the vehicle as a class, so vehicle class, tell me how many attributes we needed for the vehicle class.
model,
Vehicle,
ground,
model, yes.
Mileage.
Mileage,
engine design,
yes. Yes, or
Transmission.
yes. So if we understand how many
Chassis.
attributes, which one, Shoaib?
chassis, mainframe body.
Okay. So whenever we design the vehicle, okay, we have the which defines that particular object. If you understand that different attribute mention the functionality as a characteristic of that object. Okay. So if we write all these attributes, which help you to understand which kind of object it is. Okay. So if we see the functionality of that, we can have the acceleration, we can increase the acceleration, brake is the functionality. Okay. So these are the functions operate on the attribute. Hope you understand. So any real world thing we can understand as object. So within your home also, if you understand a bottle also we use to keep the storage of the water. So we open the bottle, okay. So anything we can have the object and we can have the different attribute of the object. If I understand the book, so I told you this book, I think this one, okay. This book is a Balguru Swami book, and if I am going to write this book as my class name, so book is having the book title, I have the author name, I have the publisher, McGraw-Hill, where is that? Yes, Tata McGraw-Hill is the publication of this, okay, and I have the ISBN number of book. So what exactly it means that this will help me to understand the which book it is. Okay, when I assign it is the object-oriented programming is the name of the book, then I'm assigning the author is Balguru Swami, then I assign the publisher is the McGraw-Hill publication. Okay, ISBN number is this. So anyone is able to identify which book it is. So book is generalized entity. Okay, and when I assign all these value, then it is a specific one. Hope you are understanding. समजताय का नाही मुलांनो? Or is it a
Yes,
faster
ma'am.
or is it
ma'am.
okay?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So if you see the object main important on a attribute. Okay, and different operations we are going to use to manipulate the attribute value, access the attribute value, store the values. Okay, so these operations help us to perform the operation on this. So if we consider student as an object, okay, a student object is having the student name, student ID, or we can say roll number, branch, semester, okay, and the functionality of the student is I am going to display all the information of the student information. Okay, I can get the result from this. I can check the performance of the student. I can have the enroll as the operations. Okay. So if you say this is different operations we have for the student object. The class. Class is what? Class is a collection of a similar object. So why we are referring this as a similar object? Because student. Okay. If you consider class is a student. Other objects are Siddhi, Gaurav, okay, Akash. So these are all the objects. And the class is a student. Means class is a collection of a similar object. Class is a collection of a similar object. Is a student. Here we can say Siddhi, Gaurav, Akash, Shohit. So these are all the objects of a class student. So now we are starting very important property, encapsulation. Okay. So student, the word are difficult, but it is very easy. Okay. And you, whenever we are learning this, okay, you have to remember carefully. Okay. So encapsulation, the word comes as a capsule. Capsule means what? Which contains the item, okay, which contains the medical thing. Okay, we eat for the medical precautionary measure or sometimes for the health issues. Yes. So encapsulation means what? Encapsulation means capsulation. Capsulation means what? Combining data and the code together. Combining the data and the code together. So that is called as encapsulation. Okay, very easy. It is the mechanism that associates the code and the data together. It manipulates it into the single unit. It manipulates into the single unit, keep them safe from the external interference and misuse. So here is, whenever we are learning students, you can see this. This is my student as my class. These are my attribute of the class, and these are the functionality of my class. So what we understand from this encapsulation? If I mention these attribute are private attribute of student class. So only these many function access this attribute. Other functions or other classes not able to access my data. Encapsulation means combining the attribute and the function together as a capsule. Okay, means combining attribute and function together. Okay, and function only. The function of that class is only able to access the attribute. समजतंय का? म्हणजे काय? Object मध्ये, class मध्ये attribute and the function we combine केले. I have combined these together, and other not able to access the attribute. Okay, my functions is only able to access my attribute. So that is called as encapsulation. समजतंय का नाही? Yes or no? Tell me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So now data abstraction. Students, if we are going so fast, you can tell me, okay? Because whenever I'm teaching, I'm into that. So always you can tell me not understood or something. So we can have again look at the same point. So data abstraction. So data abstraction here, the word abstract. Abstraction is the simplified view of the object. You cannot share the offline. Okay. It includes the feature one, interested, while hiding the unnecessary details. Data abstraction means, so one important thing which you remember, hides the unnecessary details. Okay, hiding the unnecessary details means the data abstractions. Means what? If we consider the data abstraction, we have the specifier into that. The access specifier help us to have the data abstraction property. Data abstraction means what? So I told you, where is our? So we have the, as a student class, all these attributes we needed. Okay, but those are important. We are only accessing that. We are not accessing unnecessary attribute. So it is called as a data abstraction. So data abstraction we can achieve. Okay. So whenever it is very important that we can access, those are not important, we are not accessing that. So hiding the unnecessary information is a data abstraction. So now very important concept come into picture, that is inheritance. So I told you inheritance concept, like one child can have access to the properties of the base class. Okay, so inheritance is the mechanism which provides the power of reusability and extensibility. Means what? Reusability means what, student? Anyone? Ajay, Siddhi? Reusability means what?
Using the same thing again.
Yes, yes. Reusable means what? Students, if you see now, if you have seen a print, I can show you one thing, okay? Python, so it is not relevant to our C++, but which help you to understand this. So, CNN will require only one function. So, plot. Okay, if you see the plot function, plot will help us to plot something on the screen. Yes, so plot will helping us to plot the frog, truck, anything on the our chart. Yes, plot will help us to draw the chart on the screen. So this plot operation is not only easy, because in the backend for this plot we have to import a matplotlib. If you see the matplotlib, so matplotlib is what? Matplotlib is a visualization library which includes the functionality for how to draw that. Okay, so we are using only plot, dot plot. So dot plot helping us to plot something on the screen, but for the plot the functionality is already given in the library. Okay, so you are only using that functionality and by passing only the parameters. समजते का काय सांगते? It is like this. If you see the student, it is like okay, so I can show you this plot library. Okay, so if it is like plot, I am passing the x parameter, y parameter and the color. If you see this, okay, I am giving only basic example of the plot, not in the depth. So this function we are passing these many attributes. And in the Python, okay, in a Python we have the class. Okay, within the class we have the function plot, and the plot function is having these many attributes, and the functionality is written here. So plot, this functionality will help us to plot something on the screen. Okay, means what? In the back end, this is the reusability of the code. Reusability means what? I am writing something, I am going to reuse that whenever I need. Okay, so I can create one class, I can access that class multiple times whenever I need. So it is the reusability. Okay, so now if you see the parent class and the child class relationship, so instead of creating the child class new, I can access the same properties from the base class. So reusability is possible here. Okay, so here is the reusability. I can extend, so I can create one more object from the base class. This what I have the parent class and the child class. So I can have again one derived, that is grandparent, parent and the child. So here the hierarchy is increased. So extensibility is able to increase here. Inheritance is the process by which one object can acquire the properties from the other object. I told you this, like a grandparent, parent and the child. Child access the properties from the parent, parent access the properties from the grandparent. So that is the relationship between the inheritance. Okay, so now we can see this example. So we have the parent class. So parent class is also called as a base class. Parent class is also called as a base class. And the child class is also called as a derived class. So if we see this point, Okay, so if we see the point class, using this point class, I can draw one point. So to draw the line, I have to draw the multiple points. Yes, to draw this, we have the multiple points. So this comes with the, here if you see, the point is my class. From the point class, I am deriving the line class, because point is having x and y attribute, and the color. The line is having x1, y1, x2, y2, means from which point to which point I have to draw the multiple points. This will be, I think you are going to see in CG also, so I'm going to show you this. So for this is my x point, this is y. Okay, xy, xy. So all the point are having x and y attribute. Hope you understand or not, I don't know. Is it cover or not in a CG? So here, if you see this screen, so all those things are increased with this x. So these are my x plus plus, means x is increasing in the horizontal direction, y is increasing in the vertical direction. Whenever it is going down, particularly y increase. Okay, x is increasing in the horizontal direction. So whenever I need to draw this here, whatever the values of x and y, I need to draw this point. Okay, now I need to draw the line. So whenever I need to draw the line, I have to mention from which point to which point I require the line. So these many points are added which help us to draw the line. So we can understand this like, I need to draw the line, I need a point. So point is the base class, from the point is the base class, and the line is the derived class. Okay, so here is the basic inheritance we learn. Next concept is a polymorphism. Poly means many. Morphism means form. Many forms. Okay, polymorphism means that the same thing can exist in a two forms. Same thing exists in a two forms. So if we see this example, you understand. I can perform the addition. I told you this example. I can perform the addition of two numbers. So these numbers can be integer. I can perform the addition of a string, means I concatenate two things. Hope you are understanding. Polymorphism is many forms. I can combine these two together and making this shape for the addition. I have the tree. I can combine these three shapes 1, 2, 3 and make the polymorphism. Poly means what? Many forms. One thing, plus. Plus is the operation which I can perform with